All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here today. My name is Jessica Reeves, and I administer the Historical Markers Program for the Metro Historical Commission. So we just wanted to very briefly, I know it's very warm out, glad we do have a little shade here, but we'll be brief so we can move on to the fun part of actually seeing this new historical marker. I just wanted to thank everyone so much for being here today, for coming out to celebrate this marker and the history here in this neighborhood, and Russ and his legacy, which we know still carries on today. The Historical Markers Program started in 1968. It's the longest running program of the Historical Commission. We started with about 10 markers back in 1968, and I think we're going to hit 300 by next year. We're in the 280s right now. Yes, which is very exciting news because we're really expanding the types of markers that we are putting up, the types of histories, the types of stories that we're telling. And it's all thanks to people who are committed and passionate about telling the stories of Nashville, like Larry. I'm so thankful for Larry. You all know him and the work that he has done and his work in carrying on this legacy. We met actually through the Betty Page marker that we put up. Was that last year, I think? Yep. So who would have ever guessed we'd be here today because I received a letter in the mail with a picture of Betty Page's face on it. So his friend Ben was really passionate about telling that story. That marker is down at Hugh and Fogg now, and that helped inspire Larry and say, hey, I know this other story that is not as well known to all of Nashville. Although every single time I mention this marker to anyone who grew up in Nashville, I mean, their faces light up in a way that never happens for any other. I mean, people get very excited for markers. People love markers. It's a great way to share history and to tell a story that might be very personal to you, and it's so exciting to see it shown to a wider audience. But this, literally, my family from way out in eastern Middle Tennessee, oh yeah, I remember Sir Cecil. They just, everyone is so thrilled. They remember, they have their own memories, and that's the best part about the Markers program and having these markers go up in these neighborhoods, is it helps people to remember their own connections to these people or these events or this history, but it also helps move that history forward. So new people moving into the neighborhoods, kids growing up. I hear there's a lot of Halloween activity around here. So in the fall, I'm sure we're going to have lots of new kids seeing this marker and sort of understanding a little bit more about their neighborhood and some of the people who made it so special. So thank you all so much for being here today. Really appreciate it. And we're really excited to welcome this new marker to our marker family. So I'm going to now turn it over to our number one marker champion, Mayor Freddie O'Connell.
Yeah. Well, good morning, everybody. This is an especially exciting marker for me because even as somebody who doesn't share all of the memories that Jessica talked about, this is the neighborhood I grew up in. And my mom is here. Beatrice O'Connell is somewhere toward the back. And she knows a lot of the people still in the community and knows also the connection for this history moving on well beyond Sir Cecil. One of her colleagues also picked up the mantle of horror hosting. And it wasn't until a little later in life that I actually discovered the joy of horror cinema, but still think that the hosting process has so much fun to it. And you'll hear a little bit about that with Larry here in a second. But the historical marker process is so important. We're very fortunate to be joined here today by several members of the Metro Historical Commission who support this program. If you're one of the commissioners, will you raise your hand just so everybody can recognize? Can we all thank them as well?
Yeah, thank you.
And for anybody who hasn't experienced it yet, a fantastic project that gave Metro Historic a new home at the Sunnyside property in Sevier Park has just been completed. And if you haven't been over there to see it yet, not only is it a remarkable new office for Metro Historic staff, it is also a place of living history, and Metro Parks joined the project to position it not just in the park property, but to surround it with some reinvented areas of parks so that it is parks and history together. And the project included even a creative partnership with Metro Nashville Police Department, where ballistics specialists from MNPD helped trace bullets and found trajectory of bullets that were from the Civil War, and there are still some embedded in the building itself. And so there's an interactive process there. These markers, as we have now gone from that first set of 10 to nearly 300, really do help tell Nashville's stories that help, as Jessica said, people's faces light up with excitement. So I'm excited to be here for this one. It's also great to be reminded of just the power of those little connections. As Larry had that encounter with Ben in the Betty Page scenario, he also just reached out to me through social media and said, hey, we're doing this thing this weekend and would love to have you there. And it's great to be back in my neighborhood celebrating all these memories. And I want to just celebrate too that we've got some of our NECAT folks here that make sure that this process of hosting and access for the community to great creative content are here. So if you're part of the NECAT process, will you also raise your hand as you are part of the broadcast network? Yeah, so we've got some folks there, so help recognize them. And so without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Larry, who I first knew as Dr. Gangrene. So again, the whole hosting process continues. All right.
Thank you, Freddie. It's so great to see everybody out here. Thank you all for showing up. Like they said, my name's Larry Underwood. I've hosted a horror host show in Nashville for 25 years as Dr. Gangrene, inspired by this guy right here. This painting, by the way, lived inside this house, which is where Russ lived. This was his historic Foursquare that he took great pride in owning and maintaining and restoring. And so we thought this was the perfect place to put it. Some of the McCown families here, they told me that this used to live just inside that doorway on the left when you would go in. So he held this proudly. I typed up a little bit of the history of Sir Cecil here because I didn't want to forget anything. So I'm going to start it the way Russ started his show every week. Did someone call? Today I want to take you back in time to when late night television was a bit spookier and a lot more fun. Imagine turning on your TV in Nashville in the early 1970s, which I'm sure a lot of you out here did, flipping through the channels and stumbling upon a quirky character named Sir Cecil Creape, hosting creaky old horror movies from a dripping underground dungeon. Sir Cecil Creape was the creation of Russ McCown, a film editor at WSM TV Channel 4. McCown, who had a knack for the theatrical and a love for film, brought Sir Cecil to life in 1971 as the host of Creature Feature that aired at 10:30 Saturday nights. Dressed in a colorful costume with a British accent that occasionally slipped into a southern drawl, Sir Cecil became an instant hit with his campy humor and playful antics. Each episode of Creature Feature was a mix of horror movies and Sir Cecil's misadventures, whether he was trying and failing at harebrained experiments or mocking commercials mercilessly. Sir Cecil kept audiences entertained with his infectious laugh, and witty banter. Sir Cecil's popularity soared. He became a local celebrity, making personal appearances at malls, parades, even starting a fan club. Kids loved him, adults loved him. Everyone tuned in to see what Sir Cecil would do next. However, like all good things, Creature Feature eventually came to an end in 1973, replaced by other programming. But Sir Cecil's story didn't stop there. In 1983, McCown resurrected the character for the Phantom of the Opry on the Nashville network. This time, Sir Cecil relocated to the Grand Ole Opry underneath the Opry House, bringing his unique brand of humor to a national audience. However, Russ McCown's legacy extends beyond Sir Cecil Creape. He continued to entertain and inspire through local theater and public service announcements, all while maintaining his passion for film and technology. He inspired a generation of Nashvillians, including yours truly. In 1999, I started my own horror host program as Dr. Gangrene, the Physician of Fright. I even sewed a Boy Scout patch that I received as a kid onto my lab coat. It reads Sir Cecil's Ghoul Patrol, and I still wear it on my costume to this day as a tribute to the old ghoul. Today, Sir Cecil Creape remains a beloved figure in Nashville's television history, a testament to Russ McCown's creativity and the enduring appeal of good-natured horror entertainment. We chose this location for the historical marker as Russ used to own this very home, as I said before, a historic foursquare he took great pride in restoring and maintaining. Thank you for taking this journey with me back in time, where horror met humor and Sir Cecil Creape ruled the airwaves. I'd like to close with the same words Sir Cecil spoke at the end of each episode, and if you know it, you can say it along with me. Good night, sleep tight, and don't let the Betty bugs bite. And with that, we will do the unveiling. Freddie, do you want to come up here with me? Jessica, I don't know.
And I brought our council member.
Oh, and we got a council member here too. Would you like to say something?
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you so much. This was so cool. And also, one of the first things I learned when I came to Nashville 20 years ago was folks sharing about exactly who we're attributing to, and I had no idea that I live down the road here in the neighborhood, so it's great to see my neighbors, those I know and those I'm meeting for the first time, and so this is really special.
This is Council Member Gadd, everybody. All right, let's unveil this thing. Let's unclip it, make sure there's enough clips, and we will count to 3. 1, 2, 3.
There we go. Did someone fall? That's awesome.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Freddie, thank you. Awesome.
Thank you for all your work.
Oh,
This
you're
is so
welcome.
amazing.
Yeah, this is so fun. It's nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you.